Hello everybody, how's it going? I hope you're well. This is just a quick video to introduce my game Skewered. Some of you might have seen that a couple of weeks ago I showed the development of the game on a live stream, but you might have missed that, and so I thought if I did this video, everybody would be able to start on the same page, everyone would know where the game is now and what my plans for it are in the future. So let's jump into Unity and have a look. So this is the game. I made all the art assets, I coded the whole thing. The only thing I used outside of something I made was the soundtrack, which you'll hear in a minute, which was done by Kevin MacLeod. If you make your own indie games, then you've probably heard of Kevin MacLeod before. So let's open the game up and see what happens. So the sound you hear playing now is the actual sound in the game. I'll keep that on quietly in the background. Let's actually start playing and see what happens. Here's the main game screen. Everything is in the wrong place, basically. This is one of the tasks I need to do. You can see I've got text at the bottom with a text box background, which will eventually be black so that you can see the text through it. I've got the character, I've got the drop-down bars, which need all their options filled in. I have a continue and a sort of confirm button and a next button. And I have some settings. All of these things will be moved around and anchored correctly over the next couple of screens. Here are the settings. I really wanted some good settings in this game, even though it's a jam game. It was really important to me. Music volume, you can see what that does now. And this one turns off the text for the background. So you can see this white box disappears, so players can customize how many accessibility options they want to make use of. This next one is a bit wonky, is another one that needs fixed. UI size. Now you can see everything's going off the screen at the moment because the anchors aren't set correctly, and as you can see everything becomes far too big and doesn't fit on the screen anymore at all. All those things will be fixed and tidied up over the next few streams. That's something really important that needs done. There's also an ending screen, which I'm not going to show now. You play through the game and you get to a review score. I will show you it in a second, just not by playing through the game. I'm going to cheat a little bit. I am really proud of the assets that I made in this game. Some of the artwork looks really interesting. I like the aesthetic, I like the kind of colours used, I love the characters, but some of it does need redone. The buttons are the worst thing. You can see how much the button for the Open Studio stands out compared to everything else. They just don't fit. They really need a good fix. And the same with the UI buttons. The sliders for the volume and the UI scaling, they need a little bit of work. The other thing that I think that really doesn't fit well is the font. I really did try to get a good sort of handwritten font for the game, but I couldn't find one in time, so I ended up just using the default font, which is a real shame, but again, that's how jam games go sometimes. The way I've got the coding done is that all the important stuff is done by one sort of game manager object, and then I have my clients on top of that, which have different intro texts and warning texts, and they have sort of good responses, bad responses and neutral responses, and which one you get determines what they asked for and what choice you gave them. Everything else is handled inside the game handler. The UI is done by having a main canvas which is set to scale with screen size. Now my original game didn't have this, and so you couldn't resize the game at all. You couldn't resize the game at all. Any minor changes would just have things going off the screen or being squashed or stretched in a really awful way. It was not ideal, so I have fixed that now by having one main canvas set to be the size of the camera originally and then to scale with the screen size so that it works at any aspect ratio, it works at any resolution. which is exactly what I want. Now what I need to do is I need to set up all the individual UI elements so that they are correctly anchored and stay in the right place. The way that I've got the different screens, the start screen or the end screen, which you're seeing now that I talked about, the way that those all happen is that they are different panels on top of the original canvas, so that I can do everything to do with the resolutions in one place and everything else just follows along using the correct anchors or the correct sizing given to it. All in all, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Hopefully you can now see what I tried to do with the game, how the game is supposed to run, and what I really envisioned for it. So the final list going into the next few streams is as follows. Get all the UI elements in and in the right place, anchored properly so that the game looks good at any resolution. Get the UI scaling correctly so that things scale when the player puts the scaling up but don't go off screen. Fix the text background so that firstly it's the right size for the amount of text, and secondly it's a black box that they can change to be darker or lighter depending on their preference. If I can get those three things in really soon, then I think that the game will be in a really good place. As I've said before, this is all about taking the game that I made for the Jam and getting it to the best possible place. I'm not adding in new things at this time, and I'm not changing the way the game works. Eventually I will. Eventually I will add new things and I will update things and I will rework entire portions of the game. But right now I'm just trying to take the game that I made in a week and make it playable as a version 1. This will probably end up being version 1.5, and it's going to be a really, really nice game that runs really smoothly. After that I can start layering things on top, but that base needs to be right first. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a really good time making this game. I really think it can be something special with a little bit of work and a little bit of adjustment. Let me know if you've got any comments or suggestions or ideas for the game. I'd really love to hear them. If you want to see me making this game in real time, then please do join me on Thursdays. I stream a tech stream, and for the next couple of weeks at least, I will be working on this game. So some of the things that you've heard me saying I want to do, I will be implementing, so you can actually watch it and join in and give ideas. I'd really love to see you there. If that's not quite your bag, I'll still be doing updates here, so don't worry, and click subscribe if you want to get those, and hit like if you really enjoyed this. Otherwise, if you're more of a crafty sort, then Wednesdays I do an arts and crafts stream. I hope to see you there. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.